What's up, everybody? I'm former quarterback Malik, and if football, sports interviews, and having a good time interests you, then make sure to click the like and subscribe button as it really does help support this channel, and it also makes sure that you guys never miss a new video. How's everyone doing, and welcome back to another episode of Malik Rogers Show. And today, as you guys can tell, this is a new scenery. This is not a green screen. This is actually the Kingmaker space. For the people that know about Kingmakers, Kingmakers is pretty much a space that is basically comprised of a Shark Tank kind of mode and even a WeWorks, where there's spaces where there's private rooms, there's conference rooms, there's TVs. You can tell that there's a lot of space for people to kind of sit down, socialize, interact. This is made by Tate Martell and Bubba Bolden. So if you guys do not follow them, go on social media, follow them, as I know you guys will see a lot more stuff about this. This is kind of where we're going to be for now. I do like this space a little more. I might actually do more streams out of this space. So we'll see what happens. So first thing we're going to get into is quarterback mindset. Okay. And really, for each quarterback going into the spring at Miami, they all should have a different kind of mindset. So if I'm Cam, it's leadership. It's, overworking with my receivers. I don't want to say overworking them, but, any chance I get working on my craft with my receivers. I did see that he was on the sand and the beach with Shador Sanders. I think that's great. I think anytime, quarterbacks kind of bounce ideas off of each other, bounce techniques off of each other, just different things like that. I think that's something that definitely can elevate their game. And I am excited to see that. Really for him too, I think it's, two hands on the ball security. That's more of, Dawson and Mario's thing for him. But I think that's something that, again, when you watch him, the one thing that his negativity would be is just turnovers, not necessarily interceptions, but more on the fumbling side. Okay. So now we're going to get into Rees Pienberg. Really like Reese. He actually had more arm talent than what I thought he was going to have. He's about the same size as I thought he would be. But one thing I can say, he seems scrappy, has a really good mindset, a great competitor. There was one time, well, I thought he took a chance when he shouldn't have. I'm not going to say what really happened. But again, I think he's someone that he is kind of a daredevil. He does take chances. And I think his biggest thing is taking calculated chances. What are chances I can take that won't necessarily hurt my team? I think that's the biggest thing he really has to figure out, because he is a game changer. He does have the ability to use his legs. He does have arm talent. He is kind of savvy and crafty. So very interested to see how Reese progresses. So my biggest thing with him is, don't cost your team the game. Just trying to be a hero making a play. Then let's go on to Jakari. So like Jakari a lot. Super athletic. I think got to find some way to get him in the game. But the one thing I will say is that he just has to just keep getting better. And it's not about going from really good to great. I know everyone's going to go, I want to be good one day and I'm going to work so hard I'm going to become great. My biggest thing is it's the process. It's falling in love with, waking up early, doing the little extra things, finding something that you're bad at to get good at. The biggest concept I tell a lot of my kids is if you get 1% better every day, you'll look back and after 100 days, you'll be 100 times better than what you were. So that's my biggest thing to him, is just find one thing each practice. What can I get better at? Whether it's, a check, a call, an adjustment, throwing mechanics, footwork, like anything that he can slowly get better at. I think that's the big thing from him, because athletic, smart, people liking him, that's not his issue. That's not his problem. Now we're going to Emory. Biggest thing for Emory, I think, is two. One, being agile, staying mobile, not allowing kind of that college weight. I don't mean like fat, but I mean, obviously he's eating better. He's in the weight room more, not allowing that college weight to kind of slow him down and make him into, kind of the statue quarterback, to be honest with you. So, just getting extra work on Saturdays and Sundays with, speed and agility and nutrition. That side is going to be really big for him. And then secondly, technician. Be consistent. Obviously he's not the most gifted physically. He does have arm talent. He's a big kid with I mean, to be honest with you guys, he was as big as me when I was a senior as he is as a freshman, when I was going to be a sophomore. But you know what I mean? When he came in, he's a very stock kid, but he's not super fast. So I think there's some stuff that, between Vic and some of the other strength and conditioning coaches, that if they can just get him, a little bit of more speed work and agility work, I think that's something that'll really, really help him. The last guy that we're going to talk about, Jud Anderson. And my biggest thing with Jud is just helping the people around you out. There's going to be a lot of freshmen that don't know the playbook. There's going to be a lot of freshmen that are lost and confused. Before you snap the ball, make sure everyone's at least lined up in the right spot. Make sure everyone leaves motions to the right spot. There was times where guys come up to me, am I here? What's my route? Especially like your tight end, your running backs. They're kind of close. You can kind of say, hey, man, you got to, scat to the left. Hey, man, you got to, a Texas route to the right. Like, you can kind of talk to those guys because they're right close to you, but really making sure the receiver's set up. Are they supposed to be on the hash? Are they +2? Are they -2? Or are they on the numbers? Are they, inside the numbers? So that kind of stuff for Jud, just, the attention to detail part. to me is really going to separate him as a young guy. Again, no one expects Jud Anderson to come in and be the starting quarterback in Miami. That's the reason why they got Cam. But the more that he can find stuff that what can I get good at, what can I focus on now, what's really, really easy that can really help my guys, it's that. It's formation, it's alignment, it's assignment. Because once you know that, you can help everyone else around you. And once you can help people around you, people are going to start gravitating towards you. So that'd be my biggest, pointers to each one of the quarterbacks. They obviously have something different to work on, but they all are really good quarterbacks. And the last thing I'll say about the QBs, we'll go kind of some, but it'll be different quarterbacks. But the last thing I'll say about the Miami quarterbacks is Cam Ward is definitely number one. There's not a question. I would say that the offense definitely functioned and moved a lot better when he was in. Not seeing the other quarterback struggled, but you can just tell when he was in, the ball was pushing down the field. It was flowing real well. There was kind of plays all over the field. So it was very encouraging to see, that offense in 3 days basically move down the field very easy. And I don't want to say very easy because defense definitely made some plays. We'll kind of talk about that. I think the linebacker group was one of the best groups next week. We'll get into it. Was one of the best groups at practice. They just dominated, whether it was in the run game, whether it was covering tight ends, or whether it was, just getting sideline to sideline. So a lot of positivity, on the defensive side as well. But obviously today we're going to focus on the quarterback. So staying on the quarterbacks, we're going to go into my sleepers quarterbacks for each conference. Okay, so number one, ACC, Kyron Drone. You can kind of throw Malik Murphy in there, but if you go back and watch this kid, especially at the end of the year, he was a beast. He was balling. They wound up beating the heck out of Tulane in the bowl game. Tulane's a very good team. So I have a lot of upside from Kyron Drone and kind of what he showed and what Virginia Tech can do. They're also bringing back, 2 or 3 of their receivers from last year. So they got a lot of chemistry that's going to continue to be kind of built at VT. So a very scary team, a team that I think will upset a couple good teams this year. Next, Gavin Wimsatt. And I had some Big Ten people that were on me about Drew Allaire. And listen, man, say what you want. Drew Allaire is like the poor man version of J.J. McCarthy. And I'll say this about J.J. I feel like if any team drafts him in the first round, that team's probably going to be fired. So I do like Gavin Wimsatt. I don't think that he is the best quarterback in the league or that conference. I think that Drew Allaire might be a better quarterback if you talk about just pure quarterback and just sit in the pocket and throwing. But you talk about someone that gives you the ability, the arm talent, the ability to make plays on the run, things like that. I think that Gavin Wimsatt's definitely that guy. Again, some of the stuff can be fundamentally, whether Rutgers are teaching him right. Some of it could be just how they're having him progress mentally. So I think it is a big thing for, Rutgers kind of figure out this guy, because I think he's someone that if they can make him have a good year, they can recruit quarterbacks from New Jersey, and there are some good quarterbacks up there. So big hopes for Gavin Wimsatt this year. I think he's a kid that it's kind of due. I think this is one of those years where it's it or it's not. Like, you just have to figure it out. So next, Big 12, Avery Johnson, young guy, really, really good at K-State, can spin it. Came kind of later on in the year. And the last one, obviously, Florida sports guys know this, whether you're at Florida State, Miami. Jaden Rashada, guy can spin it, really, really good. Arizona State. I think he's a kid that, I think he just has to build. He has to figure out, what am I good at and how can I get better? And then secondly, what was I not good at? And especially, how can I get better at that? Because that's what they're going to figure out. DCs are going to figure out what he was good at throwing last year. They're going to try to take away those routes. They're going to try to put him in situations with routes that he doesn't like to throw, which I think he can make every throw. But obviously, there's certain routes that you're more comfortable with. There's certain routes that you're like, hey, I'll get to that over time. So a lot of stuff for him. I think understanding, more coverage, especially for both of these guys. I think they're really young, and defenses are going to try to do stuff now that more confuse them. And so I am really excited for the Big 12 to kind of see where these two young guys can kind of do in that conference. Next, SEC, Garrett Nussmeier. I do not think he's the best quarterback in there. Obviously, why he's a sleeper pick, but I think he's someone that, with the talent level at LSU, if they can get 1 or 2 receivers, I saw some spring throws that looked really, really good. And I think Garrett Nussmeier can get, a good offensive line, a couple receivers around him, and he'll definitely make some plays. So super excited to see Garrett Nussmeier. I do like LSU. I think they're a school that, for me, they've always been like, I don't want to say second or third favorite, but being from Mobile, there's obviously a lot of layover between Louisiana and Mobile, especially like Mardi Gras and different things like that. So always kept tabs on LSU. Garrett Nussmeier, I think, is someone that's ready to take over. And then lastly, G5, Byron Brown, actually here in Tampa at USF. Guy is a monster, can run, can throw. Also think that his head coach helps him. If you guys don't remember, he was at the University of Tennessee when they were super elite. They had one of the the most efficient vertical passing games in all of college football, not even the SEC when he was at Tennessee. So a lot of carryover is happening from that Tennessee team to this USF team, and you're seeing them recruit better. I'm pretty sure they're getting their own stadium, or they're working on getting their own stadium. So a lot of positivity going into USF. Obviously, it's in Tampa, where I'm at, so a great city. And I think he's a guy that over time, will just get more and more recognition as he's someone to me that is definitely I don't want to say sleeper, but for him, it's more he's one of the top up and coming quarterbacks in the G5 conference. So the last thing that we're going to go into are really, my top 5 quarterbacks plus my sleeper. Oh, so on this side, plus my sleeper. So number 1, Jane Daniels. Again, I like LSU, but this isn't even favoritism. I think if you watch the way he plays, I think if you watch him in the SEC in general, the SEC is probably it is the hardest conference playing. But week after week, whether it's, elite offense that you're playing where you got to put up 30, 40 points a week, or whether you're playing just, an Auburn shutdown defense that is really hard. Again, I'm just saying Auburn, but it can be Georgia shutdown defense. But again, week after week, you're playing in the SEC. You're playing against, guys that are probably going to translate over to the NFL. So to me, I think the numbers that he put up and the way that he played, Jaden Daniels easily has to be number 1. I think 2 is Drake May. At least for me personally, there's a lot of throws that he makes, especially off platform. I know, again, Caleb Williams is probably the best at off platform, but I think Drake gave me enough off platform, obviously in the pocket. But just the way he approaches the game, his mindset, I think that guys, will gravitate towards him. He is a kid that just is going to work, and he's just going to keep working. He'll be the first one and the last one to leave. So a lot of upside to him. Next, Caleb Williams. Again, I think this kid is definitely the most talented. I just think that there could be, I don't want to say character issues, but I think just personality differences that could go in the locker room that could cause a lot of issues. I think it's something to where that when he comes in, I'm very interested to see if anyone in the league tries to humble him, and not even like in a disrespectful way. But it could be interesting. Again, I think he's the best pure passer and quarterback since Patrick Mahomes. But it is going to be very interesting to see how his just fandom and celebrity, kind of clashes with, being a rookie in the NFL and things of that nature. Because again, for the guys that don't know, he said that whatever organization he went to, I'm pretty sure he wanted a piece of equity or something from it. So someone that definitely thinks very highly of himself, which he should. He's a very good quarterback. But again, just me personally, if I was a GM or a head coach, I really wouldn't want to deal with that. I think there's plenty of quarterbacks in this draft that, can at least get the job done. Next, Bo Nix. I do like this kid. I think he's really good. I actually met him at the Senior Bowl. He's a lot taller than what I thought he was. Guy can spin it. He was the most accurate in the NCAA this year. Obviously at Oregon, they're a really good team. They do their job. They do got a ton of talent. But I think between the film he put at Auburn, where he can show he can play at a high level, then obviously go to Oregon and just getting better and better each year. I think Bo's one that is going to continuously just get better, even in the NFL. Last, Michael Penix. Honestly, I think if this guy right here could have stayed healthy, he'd probably be number 1, number 2. Best pure passer. Like in the pocket, let him throw it. He's the best at this draft period. Like there's no one close. Probably those are prettiest ball of all these guys too. But I think the difference is that, kind of same issues I have with Tua is, hey, if I draft you in the first round and you're going to be able to play, 4, 5, 6 years, there's going to be 1 to 2 because you're going to be hurt. So I think that's the biggest thing that, he has to at least make a GM or a head coach feel comfortable with is that, if I pay you millions, you're not going to just, get hurt within 1 to 2 years. And the last one, the sleeper pick, Sam Hartman. Again, I don't really watch Notre Dame film because I'm just not a Notre Dame fan. But you go back and watch him at Wake Forest, and the guy was a beast. He was a baller. He made plays. He was definitely outmatched a lot of times at his receiver position. So a lot of times it was more ball placement and timing. So I think he's someone that if he can find 1 or 2 teams like him, he can go somewhere where I don't want to say that he even compete for the starting job, but, he compete for like second string or third string. I think he'll be a quarterback that can be around for a long time because he is a competitor and he can make plays. So again, that is it. I don't know if I sound tired, but I am exhausted. I've been in Miami all weekend. I trained 10 hours, so I'm a little bit sunburnt, so I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I know I'm excited to be back in Tampa. Just got back last night. So I really do hope that you guys have a great week.